What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Kaiza-Sama, and we are back with another Dragon Ball Daima episode review. Now, we are picking up right where we left off from last week with episode 13, following episode 12. Now, if you guys are new here, drop that like and sub. Make sure you turn on those post notifications so you know whenever I drop a new video. Now, without further ado, we're just going to hop right into it. Now, I said last week, correction, we did have a week break last week. So from the week prior, episode 12 happened, and then just this past weekend, episode 13 happened. So do please forgive me for the late upload. I had some stuff to deal with being snowed in, and I was trying to get errands done with the snow melting so I could actually go outside and do some stuff. So do please forgive me for the late upload. And I also didn't know Daima was coming back a week later. So, I literally found out Friday night that episode 13 actually dropped. So I was like, oh crap, so I'm doing it now. It's going up today. So like I said, please do forgive me. Now, before we really get deep into it, it's not really too much to go over in today's episode review. It was pretty much of a filler episode, but I do have some big theories for basically the first 5 minutes of the episode, and we're going to really just crack that down once we basically get it all done, and then we're going to wrap it up and get up out of here. So, picking up right where we left off, we do have Goma and Degetsu. They are basically viewing the events that have just happened with Vegeta gaining the second Dragon Ball. So Goma is basically very fearful of, Glorio and his gang reaching Demon Realm Section 1. Now, with that being the case, he basically ends up shutting down Warp-Sama. Now, the way Warp-Sama works, I'm not sure if he shut down all three of them, but from what we see in the episode, from the particular scene, it looks like he only sends Degetsu to shut down the Warp-Sama for Demon World 1. So with that being the case, the other two are still functioning, but nobody can actually get into Demon Realm 1 because Degetsu went ahead and he shut down Warp-Sama. Now, when Degetsu goes ahead and he shuts it down, we do see a particular look on his face. He looks rather worried, as if, why does he have to really do this? And you can really just tell that he's not really agreeing with shutting down Warp-Sama. And that could very well be the case in that he knows what Dr. Arinsu is up to. As far as Degetsu, we still have to see what side he's really on as far as planning wise, once we get to the climax. Now, like I said, we are going to talk about some big theories with this particular scene, but we basically go ahead and jump into Glorio, Pansy, Bulma, Vegeta, Neva, Goku, Supreme Kai, Hybis. They all basically crash land once again. If I had to count, this is probably the fifth time one of these ships has crashed. Somebody get them a good quality ship, dude, because I'm tired of all this crashing. But we basically see that they crash on a particular planet known as Megath or Megalith planet. Now, with that being the case, we basically see that, everything as far as the demon beings and the creatures on this planet are actually gigantic and like a kaiju type style. Now, one thing to understand is this is not the only planet with these giant beings and giant creatures on there. But for this episode, this is what we get a taste of with the old filler, vibe and everything like that. So basically, long story short, once they land, they're trying to figure out what's going on with the ship. But Goku, he's walking around eating some wild fruit, wild vegetables. He has no clue what he's eating, whether it's poisonous or not. But he ends up eating all this fruit, and he gets stalked by these demonic giant hamsters. So these hamsters are attacking Goku, Vegeta, Glorio. They're attacking everybody. But then we hear these loud footsteps of a megalith child, so-called megalith child. They are giant beings. They are only children, but there's also adults that are actually way bigger than the megalith child. But even to the Z fighters, these Megalith children are actually still pretty huge. So like I said, we basically get that coming about to the scene, and it basically scares the hamsters away. And we see this megalith child walking towards them, and he also has this so-called megalith puppy, I guess you could call it. So it's this giant puppy dog that's chasing around the Z fighters, while Pansy and Bulma are trying to get the ship fixed. Basically, Glorio, Goku, and Vegeta are trying to basically, distract the dog. And then once it gets to the point where they're about to take off, everybody gets in the ship. And then we see that the actual megalith child, he actually starts trying to poke at the ship. And Goku basically has to go Super Saiyan, and he distracts the dog one more time, and he also distracts the child. It looks like he almost gets crushed within like the actual the clothing that the child has, but he ends up flying out one of the little crevices, and we see that once they're finally distracted, the child and the dog, they are actually able to fly away. So they do safely get up off the ground, and we basically see them fly away, and they make their escape. Now, while they were, fixing up the ship, Pansy, it's nothing really important that goes on. Like I said, within this episode, the first 5 minutes were pretty much the most important segments. But we do hear how Pansy explains to Bulma how there's like a valuable rock here, and there's like a acidic water that basically seeps from the third demon realm into the second one, and that acidic water mixes with the mineral of this certain rock within the second demon realm, and it creates this light as if there's sunlight within the second demon realm, but it's actually just the, the, not refraction, but the absorbed light that's kind of like starting to reflect off of the minerals within Demon World 2. Like I said, there's nothing really too, important about that fact, but that's just another factoid that we end up learning in this episode. Now, with that being said, like I said, this was mostly a filler episode. No real action happened like that. We got to see Goku go Super Saiyan once again. Vegeta, he mainly remains in base form. And basically, towards the end, we basically just get a scene of them flying, kind of like similar to some aurora lights, like some northern lights type of scene throughout the second demon realm, but they are back up and flying again. Now, talking about theories, what I think is actually going to happen within the next few episodes. One thing to take in mind and take into consideration is that Dr. Arinsu still needs the Dragon Balls that Glorio has acquired with the Z Fighters. So, with that being said, she's definitely either going to get Goma or Degisu to reactivate Warp-Sama, or, if you guys remember from episode 2, Supreme Kai talked about the specific tunnel that would actually go through all three of the different sections of the demon worlds, right? But it was sealed off by the Supreme Kais and the angels because it was being used too much for, taking advantage of. My personal theory and opinion is that either one of these two things is going to happen. They're either going to go through that tunnel with Neva, and Neva is going to perform a little magic trick to get everybody flying through there. Or, like I said, Dr. Arinsu is going to manipulate Degisu or manipulate Goma, and basically to activating Warp-Sama again for just some particular reason. Or we could possibly even see Dr. Arinsu opens up a pathway for Glorio in the game to come through so she can use her Dragon Balls. And then, eventually we're going to get to this big climax where they find out Glorio has been lying to them or basically using them this whole time. Degisu, he's going to come out showing his true side. So I definitely think we are building up to a lot of action that's going to, start stirring around for the last half of the season. So with that being said, I don't want people to think, oh, there's going to be another filler episode. They're going to, blue ball this again. This is definitely, I feel like this is the definite last filler episode before we really just start diving into just the meat and potatoes of the last half of this season. because I know so far, everybody is really been kind of mixed reviews on Daima just overall. You can tell that the true Dragon Ball fans are really just appreciating everything about Daima. And then you have, kind of like the younger generation. I just feel like this younger generation is kind of like trying to rush it, or they're trying to milk it, or they're trying to dissect it so hard to where they're trying to make it out to be like, oh, Daima isn't even that good. You guys are hyping it up. It's trash. I don't like it. We get it, dude. We get it. You're 10. You were just born. You don't know what's going on. You're mad. We get it. But for the real DB fans, I feel like we are really taking it all in. Even though it was a filler episode, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I appreciate the information and like the sequence, the transition of how everything is moving and going. I do appreciate that. So with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for this episode review. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think and your opinions on what's going to happen, any theories that you have in mind. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next Dragon Ball content video. You guys look out for my figure reviews, gaming showcases with Dokkan, and episode reviews, as episode 14 is going to be airing this week. So you guys take care, be safe out there, and peace.